film begins, we are introduced to a group of poachers in a forest. They spot a pride of lions devouring their bait and immediately begin firing shots at them. However, one lion manages to escape their onslaught. The poachers cautiously approach the site and discover that they have successfully killed 3 lions. Meanwhile, Abdullah, one of the poachers, hears the roar of a lion nearby and decides to investigate. As he ventures further into the forest, he stumbles upon a distinct claw mark left by a lion. At the same time, another poacher hears Abdullah's distressed screams from a distance and rushes towards the source, just as an injured Abdullah appears from the bushes. Panicked, the concerned poacher rushes to seek help but inadvertently falls into a trap, where he becomes prey to the lion's attack. The scene shifts, and we are introduced to Dr. Nate and his 2 teenage daughters, Nora and Mare, who have arrived in Africa. Shortly after, Nate's friend Martin joins them and guides them to their temporary residence. As they settle in, Nora inquires about the Wi-Fi password, but Martin informs her that there will be no internet or cell phone signals available for the next 10 days. Nate proceeds to show his daughters cherished pictures of their late mother, evoking emotions within them. However, during dinner, an argument ensues between Mare and Nate. Mare expresses her frustration, claiming that Nate did not dedicate enough time to their mother during her final year. Nate reveals that he and their mother mutually agreed to separate before her illness took hold. The following morning, Martin introduces them to his friend Banji, who specializes in tracking the movements of the lion pride in the reserve. Banji showcases the Nandi pride and shares the significance behind its name, paying homage to a remarkable matriarch within the pride. Banji proceeds to reveal the names of the male lions, Kuda and Ka. As Martin walks toward the pride, Banji informs Mare that Martin raised Kuda and Ka from cubs and released them into the wild at a young age. Martin's interaction with the lions becomes playful as Ka joins him, followed by Kuda. However, Martin's attention is soon drawn to Nandi, noticing her injured state. As he cautiously approaches her, Nandi displays aggression, and Kuda intervenes, pushing Martin away. Nate inquires about Nandi's condition, and Martin explains that she was wounded by the very poachers who are now targeting lions in addition to elephants and rhinos. The poachers profit from selling their teeth, claws, and even bones on the black market. He then leads them to a nearby village to inquire about any unusual activities. However, they are met with an eerie sight: no signs of life in the village. After exploring the deserted area, Nate asks Martin to accompany him back, but a shocking discovery halts their retreat. Nate urgently instructs the girls to stand aside while he re-enters the village, where a devastating scene awaits him. All the villagers have been brutally killed. In shock, Nate turns to Martin, seeking answers as to who could be responsible. Martin reveals that it was the work of a lion, though such conduct is unusual for them. He confesses that he has never witnessed anything like this before. Sensing the lingering danger, Martin warns Nate that there may be hyenas nearby, and whoever did this is still out there. Martin decides to retrieve a gun and urges Nate to stay with the girls. As Nate emerges from the village, he realizes that Nora is missing. Frantically, they embark on a search, only to be guided by Nora's terrified screams. Nate rushes towards her, discovering her in a state of fear near a dead cow and a lifeless woman. The scene transitions, and we find them heading back while Martin attempts to contact Banji. Unfortunately, radio signals are obstructed by the surrounding mountains. Continuing their journey, they encounter a man along the way. Martin instructs the girls to remain in the car as he approaches the man, inquiring about the number of lions in the area. Nate joins them, and the man introduces himself as Mutant, revealing that his brother was killed by the lion. Suddenly, Martin hears a noise from above and signals Nate to remain calm. He ventures into the forest, searching for the lion, only to discover movement near the water, which turns out to be a crocodile. Finding claw marks left by a lion, Martin hears an animal sound from a short distance away. He enters the water and moves forward, only to be unexpectedly attacked from behind by the lion. The sound of gunshots startles the girls and Nate. Worried for Martin, Nate heads towards the forest. He catches sight of a lion, instilling a deep sense of terror within him, compelling him to sprint towards the safety of the car. The lion leaps to attack him, but Nate manages to seek refuge inside the vehicle just in time. The lion then climbs onto the car, causing intense fear among them, launching an attack through the window. Nate desperately tries to drive the lion away, but it clings onto his leg. In the frantic moment, Mare grabs the wheel. Nate is able to kick the lion off, but their vehicle veers into a ditch and crashes into a tree, coming to an abrupt stop. Checking on the well-being of his daughters, Nate reassures them and then assesses the situation outside the car. Unable to locate the lion, he attempts to start the vehicle once again. Just then, Martin's voice crackles through the radio, and Nate urgently asks him for an update. Martin reveals that the lion appeared out of nowhere and attacked him, leaving his legs severely injured. Concerned about the safety of the girls, Nate inquires about their well-being. Martin assures him that they are alright but expresses his uncertainty about what to do next. Martin advises Nate to stay inside the car, assuring him that help will arrive. Nate instructs Martin to heat his knife with a lighter and apply it to the torn artery to stop the bleeding. Following Nate's guidance, Martin complies, and moments later, Nate hears Martin's agonizing scream. Alarmed by the distressing sound, Nate promises Martin that he heard the scream and will attempt to reach him. Martin interrupts, explaining that he is not alone and that the lion is staring directly at him. As the lion approaches Martin, he informs Nate that they have entered the lion's territory. Nate returns and begins searching for a gun. They find a box, inside of which they discover a rifle. Mare tells Nate she knows how to put it together after seeing Banji do it earlier. Throughout this process, Nate maintains communication with Martin, who informs him that the lion has left his sight. Instructed by Martin to search for movement or anything that casts a shadow, Nate emerges through the sunroof while continuing his conversation with Martin. They inquire about the landmark closest to Martin, and he directs them to look for the hunter's blind. Nate searches with the scope but isn't able to locate it, but Mare spots the hunter's blind in front of her, prompting her to exit the car and run towards it. Nate urgently calls her back, but it's too late. Nora notices the lion approaching them from behind. Nate attempts to shoot the lion but misses, resulting in the lion attacking him and causing him to fall from the car. The lion continues its assault, but Nate manages to take refuge under the vehicle, with the lion eventually climbing on top. As the lion descends from the car and begins to depart, Nate seizes the opportunity, swiftly retrieving the gun and retreating back under the car. While struggling to grab the dart, the lion attacks Nate again, but Nora intervenes, poking the lion with another dart, which causes the lion to flee the scene. Nate emerges from under the car and watches as the lion walks away. Mare brings Martin back to the car and Nate tends to his injured leg. When Nora inquires about the lion's condition, Nate responds that the tranquilizer should keep the lion unconscious for a few hours. However, Mare notices the lion lingering above, prompting Nate to instruct everyone to remain calm. The lion roars at them before ultimately departing. Later in the night, Martin regains consciousness and asks Nate about the lion. Nate reveals that the tranquilizer seemed to have minimal effect, but he has not seen the lion since it turned dark. Martin acknowledges that lions typically do not exhibit such behavior and emphasizes that he has never witnessed anything like it before. He believes the lion has gone rogue after the poachers killed its pride and is now relentlessly pursuing them all. As they sleep through the night, sudden sounds emanate from the radio, alerting them to approaching visitors. They soon realize that they are poachers. Instructing the girls to stay in the car, Nate steps out and attempts to explain their situation, emphasizing that they were attacked by a massive lion and only wish to leave the area. The leader of the poachers, Keys, comprehends that they are referring to the lion whose pride they killed the previous night. Keys proposes a demand of $5,000 to assist them, to which Nate reluctantly agrees. While inspecting their car, Keys becomes agitated upon spotting Martin inside. He accuses Martin of being an anti-poacher who killed 3 of his men. One of the poachers grabs Nora and another strikes Nate. Suddenly, the lion attacks them. Nate swiftly places Nora back inside the car, as the poachers go looking for the lion. Seizing the opportunity, Nate attempts to take the poacher's truck. However, upon reaching the car, he discovers that the key is missing. He goes into the woods and finds the man who has the truck key. As he approaches him, he notices the lion still roaming around and takes cover behind a tree. Meanwhile, Mare attempts to contact him with the walkie-talkie, unintentionally attracting the attention of the lion. Reacting swiftly, Nate tosses the walkie-talkie, diverting the lion's focus away from him. Fear grips the girls as they hear the lion through the walkie-talkie. Nate climbs a tree as the lion searches for him below. He spots a snake and throws it at the lion, causing him to run away. Seizing the opportunity, he gets in the water and attempts to escape when the lion appears again, standing above him. However, the sound of Nora honking the car's horn startles the lion, prompting it to leave from there. Finally, Nate reaches the poacher and grabs the key to the truck, along with the poacher's gun. As the lion approaches the car, Martin advises the girls to remain calm. The lion walks away but unexpectedly returns and attacks them. Martin intervenes, instructing the girls to exit the car. The car plummets into a ditch with the lion and Martin inside. Martin manages to detonate the car, sacrificing himself to kill the lion. Hearing the explosion, Nate rushes to the girls' aid. Nora informs him that the car went over the cliff, and they discover that Mare has been injured by the lion. Determined to find help, Nate leads the girls back to their starting point from the previous day. On the way, they encounter Nandi's pride, and after a while, Nate stops the car near an old school, hoping to find assistance. They find no one, so Nate tends to Mare's wound and tells Nora to stay with her sister while he searches for water nearby. Suddenly, Mare and Nora realize that the lion has followed them. They attempt to hide, and Nora's cries for help reach Nate's ears. Responding swiftly, Nate scares the lion away and reunites with the girls. He takes them to a classroom and suggests they stay put while he confronts the lion outside. Instructing them to keep the door closed, Nate ventures out to face the lion head-on. The lion approaches, and a confrontation ensues in an open field. Nate puts up a fight, but the lion inflicts severe injuries upon him. Nandi's pride witnesses the scene, and as the lion is about to deliver a fatal blow, Kudo arrives and joins forces with Ka to overpower and kill the lion. Nate crawls towards a dry tree and loses consciousness as Bunji and his team arrive. Nate wakes up in the hospital, where he finds Mare and Nora by his side. Nora informs him that Banji arrived with reserve wardens and rescued them. Mare reveals that Nate led the lion into Nandi's pride territory, aware that the other lions would protect their pride and eliminate the rogue lion. Later, we see all three of them back in the forest, capturing a photo at the same spot where their mother's photo was taken.